Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Last night near Enid, Oklahoma,
Look at that. It's a satellite tornado. Good night.
a violent tornado tore through a neighborhood and destroyed homes. Completely. We are talking about structures that were standing at dusk and were gone by morning. That was last night. And here is what makes this forecast so significant. We are not done yet. Not even close.
All right, good morning, everyone. Sky 5 is over Enid right now, and we're bringing you...
What is developing over the next 4 to 5 days across the United States? Is one of the most sustained stretches of severe weather we have seen in all of 2026. Multiple phases, multiple enhanced risk areas, and a build toward what could be the single most significant day of the entire outbreak. And that day is not today. Let me start with where we stand right now, Phase 1. There is a multi-layered setup in motion across the central and southern United States today, and each layer carries its own distinct threat. A morning line of thunderstorms is already pushing through portions of Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma toward Little Rock and Memphis. The primary concern with that line is isolated, damaging winds. Nothing that signals a major outbreak at this stage, but enough to keep you alert if you are in those areas through the morning hours. The more significant part of Phase 1 develops later in the day. Between the early afternoon and the early evening, discrete supercells may fire near the Texas-Oklahoma border and across northeast Texas. This is the part of Phase 1 that deserves the most attention right now. The Storm Prediction Center has upgraded the tornado probability across the lower Mississippi Valley, central Arkansas, Louisiana, and northeast Texas. And an EF2+ potential is explicitly included in that outlook. We are talking about the possibility of significant tornadoes, long track and destructive, not a guarantee, but a real, credible threat that has been elevated for good reason. If you are near Shreveport, Texarkana, or anywhere across northeast Texas and central Arkansas, this afternoon requires your full attention. Have a way to receive alerts that does not depend entirely on your internet connection. The evening hours of Phase 1 bring a different kind of threat, a large organized line of storms, what meteorologists call a mesoscale convective system, could push into central and southern Louisiana and far east Texas by tonight. Areas near Houston, Lake Charles, and the surrounding Gulf Coast corridor are in the zone for widespread damaging winds as that system moves through. Wind threats from organized lines like this can cover very large areas very quickly. The damage footprint from a single squall line can stretch hundreds of miles in just a few hours. This is the kind of system where you do not need a tornado warning to get into a safe interior room. Widespread damaging winds from a line that size can be genuinely destructive well away from any rotating storm. Now let us talk about what changes heading into Phase 2, because the atmospheric setup shifts significantly as we move into the weekend. A new system pushing out of the Rockies will interact with the existing moisture and instability already in place across the southern plains. The result is an enhanced risk, Level 3 out of 5, centered on Oklahoma City and Tulsa, extending into Fort Smith, Arkansas. A slight risk stretches from central Kansas southward through Arkansas. The key word for Phase 2 storm mode is clustering. Storms during this phase are expected to favor a fast clustering pattern, individual supercells that organize quickly into lines and bowing segments. That evolution produces a combination of large hail, damaging winds, and localized tornadoes across the enhanced risk area. If you live between Oklahoma City and Tulsa, this weekend is not a weekend to be complacent. An enhanced risk designation indicates conditions are favorable for widespread severe weather, not just isolated events here and there. The localized tornado threat during Phase 2 is real. The hail threat is real. And that rapid clustering tendency makes exact timing genuinely difficult to pin down until storms are actually initiating. Monitor your local forecast closely through the weekend. Know your safe room location before Saturday arrives. Do not wait until warnings are issued to start thinking about your plan. Now here is where the pattern becomes truly difficult to ignore, because beyond Phase 2, As we push into Sunday and then Monday, the atmospheric setup does not wind down, it escalates. Sunday features a substantial severe weather environment developing across the Central Plains. Severe supercells are expected to rotate across Nebraska and Kansas from the afternoon hours through midnight, carrying a high tornado potential. An enhanced risk covers Kansas City and Wichita, and the overnight severe weather threat extends into northern Missouri. The ingredients on Sunday across Kansas and Nebraska are significant. Strong wind shear, ample instability, and storm-scale rotation potential, all converging over the same region at the same time. But there is a complicating factor on Sunday, and it matters significantly for areas further south. A cap is in place over Texas and Oklahoma. A cap is a layer of warm air sitting in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, essentially a lid on convective development. When a strong cap is present, storms can struggle to initiate even when surface ingredients look favorable. That is the difficult-to-forecast part of Sunday's setup across the southern plains. If that cap holds through the afternoon, storm development may be suppressed entirely in Texas and Oklahoma. But if it breaks late, if the atmosphere punches through that lid in the evening hours, what comes out on the other side could be exceptionally violent. That conditional cap situation on Sunday is what every forecaster in the country is watching closely. A broken cap in an environment with that much shear and instability available is one of the classic precursors to a significant tornado outbreak. The timing of cap erosion will determine a great deal about how Sunday ultimately unfolds. We will have much better clarity on that question as we get closer to Sunday afternoon. The key message right now: if you are in Kansas or Nebraska, the tornado threat on Sunday is high and the setup looks well defined. If you are in Oklahoma or North Texas, the situation is conditional and could go either direction. And then there is Monday. Let me be direct about this. Monday has the potential to be the biggest day of severe weather in this entire outbreak stretch. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a Level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk for the Midwest and Mississippi Valley. And the setup behind that designation is one that demands attention. A massive line of thunderstorms is expected to organize between 1 and 2 in the afternoon, sweeping through Wisconsin near Milwaukee, across Illinois near the Davenport corridor, and driving south and east through the afternoon and overnight hours. This line carries two primary threats: widespread damaging winds across a very large geographic footprint, and embedded tornadoes rotating within the system. By overnight Monday, this storm system pushes toward Nashville and central Kentucky, elevating the wind and tornado threat into a region that often gets less warning time when organized lines arrive after dark. Overnight severe weather is fundamentally more dangerous because it catches people off guard. Alert systems may be silenced, and the visual cues that help people recognize approaching threats are simply not visible in the darkness. Then through early Tuesday, the system continues pushing into western Michigan as the line completes its eastward progression. Let me be honest about the scale of Monday's setup. A Level 3 enhanced risk covering the Midwest and Mississippi Valley, with a massive squall line producing widespread damaging winds and embedded tornadoes across a multi-state area, transitioning into an overnight event across Tennessee and Kentucky. That is a scenario that demands serious preparation from every person in that zone before Monday arrives. Know your safe room. Have your weather radio active and tested before the weekend. If you are in Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, Tennessee, or Kentucky, build your safety plan now. And the pattern does not stop there. Heading into the middle of next week, a powerful storm system is expected to target Dixie Alley, bringing significant severe weather from Tennessee back through Texas. Communities that have already absorbed multiple rounds of severe weather over this outbreak stretch will face another threat before a meaningful recovery period has occurred. The cumulative stress of a 4 to 5 day outbreak on emergency management systems, on infrastructure, and on communities themselves, that is a factor that does not always show up in the risk graphics, but it matters enormously. Let me lay the full timeline out clearly so you have it. Today, Phase 1. EF2 plus tornado potential across northeast Texas, central Arkansas, and the lower Mississippi Valley this afternoon. Organized line of storms with widespread damaging winds pushing into Louisiana and East Texas tonight. This weekend, Phase 2. Enhanced risk for Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Fort Smith. Clustering storms with large hail, damaging winds, and localized tornadoes. Sunday, Central Plains outbreak potential. Enhanced risk for Kansas City and Wichita. High tornado potential across Nebraska and Kansas through the afternoon and overnight. Conditional cap situation in Texas and Oklahoma. Watch closely for updates. Monday. The climax. Enhanced risk for the Midwest and Mississippi Valley. Massive squall line with widespread damaging winds and embedded tornadoes sweeping from Wisconsin and Illinois overnight into Tennessee and Kentucky. Mid-next week. Dixie Alley targeted. Significant severe weather returns from Tennessee into Texas. I want to come back to where we started. Enid, Oklahoma. Last night's tornado destroyed homes. People woke up this morning to a neighborhood that looked nothing like what it was 24 hours before. That is not an abstraction. That is a real community. And it happened on the opening day of a stretch now projected to run 4 to 5 more days, and to escalate significantly before it ends. If you are watching this forecast from a community that falls inside any of these risk areas, please take this seriously. Not because the worst is guaranteed near your exact location, but because this pattern does not reward under-preparation. And the cost of being caught off guard by a violent storm is a cost no family should have to pay. We are going to be covering this outbreak closely every single day as it develops. As each phase approaches, model guidance will sharpen, and our understanding of exactly which communities face the greatest risk will improve with it. Check your local forecast frequently. Keep your alert systems active. If you have outdoor commitments between now and Tuesday of next week, build your awareness around the day-by-day threat level, not around the assumption that the worst will not reach you. Stay weather aware. There is significantly more to come from this pattern, and we will be here every step of the way.